Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. This is the podcast from the birthplace of geocaching right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Now, it's Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific. They call me Chris of the Northwest, and we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're navigating your way to Margaritaville, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
I remember when I blew up my flip-flop and stepped on a pop top.
Cut your foot, had to cruise on back home.
Yeah. All right, well, tonight in the waning days of summer, we're talking about what's in our fall geocaching bags. Planning ahead just a bit. Live audience, you know what to do. Looking forward to hearing what you've got to say. But first, it's time to bring in our bagged baboon. Some say his monthly denim budget would surprise you, would shock you even. And others say the internet keeps his Teen Beat magazine cover alive. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
I know you're just jealous that you weren't on the cover of Teen Beat that same week I was. So
You and Sean Cassidy?
that's right.
To do run, to do run.
Exactly. And yes, the Canadian tuxedo doesn't come cheap, man. All right.
Formal occasions, I've got black jeans.
Ooh.
As do I. I'm, in fact, wearing my black jeans tonight. So.
You can't podcast in pants.
You go take those pants off right now.
All right, hold on.
Okay. New
right.
listeners to the podcast are now really confused, but scroll back a few hundred episodes and it'll all make sense.
Or it won't.
Or it won't.
All right. Well, hey, before I go and take my pants off, a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. A special thanks to Land Sharks, one of our corporate Denali level sponsors. Remember, they've got those new store hours. So if you're planning to show up on a Saturday, maybe call ahead.
You'll just be peering in the windows.
You will, sadly. But the geocache will be available outside. However, some new news from Landsharks. Watch travel.landsharks.ca, that's landsharkz.ca website for a new 2024 geocaching travel adventure coming soon. I just got it hot off the presses tonight. It's coming fast. So check it all out at landsharkz.ca. And don't forget about our other corporate Denali level sponsor. Well, that's Gold Country Geotourism. Hey, it's almost fall, but it is a beautiful time to get up there and explore Gold Country. That's right. Thank you, Chris. Remember to check out their website, exploregoldcountry.com. Learn more about the geotours, the region, the places to stay, the places to eat, the wonderful people to meet, the geocaches to find, and don't forget to download the app. All right, again, that's exploregoldcountry.com. And folks, if you want to know more about becoming a patron family member and supporting this here podcast, well, click that Patreon link on the cachingandw.com website.
Whew, I thought the internet paused there for a moment.
It kind of did. I paused the internet.
Well, speaking of
misfiring monkey.
Been called worse today.
Speaking of pauses, let's pause for a moment to reflect and to glow. Yes, it's time for the glow, the geocaching log of the week, in case you were wondering. So whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. Now, you can send an email or a recording to feedback@cachingandw.com. Of course, you can call in to 253-693-TFTC and show us just how you glow.
Yes. How do you glow? How does one glow?
One glows well. Thank you.
We know how Minimag glows. Probably still glows.
Gloated?
Yeah. A glowing Minimag. Minimag found Ovis Gadget Cache by GSM × 2.
I've heard of this fellow.
Or as it says in the notes, GMS × 2. Might be a completely different cacher. But it's GC7 X-Ray Tango Juliet Mike, GC7 XTJM. And this is one of those wonderful glows that is an example of clothes don't have to be, an entire novel long. This is a great short but sweet glow. It says, "Thank you for being part of my epic adventure to get to 2,000 finds. Today marks 2,000 finds for our team. We made it an awesome day as it was my birthday, Mother's Day, and my 2,000th find all on the same day. As if things couldn't get any better, we found a cache from one of the best known cachers in the world. Thanks for the awesome cache."
Well, in the world.
In the
In
world.
the world.
All
There we go.
right. So, Chris, you've got a little bit of audio for us as well tonight.
I do. I've got a call from, well, one of our friends. Let me play it.
Good day, gentlemen. This is Limax. I'm calling because I was just listening to the podcast, hearing Gas Station Tuna talk about his name, and I found that a very, very interesting story. Now, I have never tried Gas Station Tuna myself. However, I have had Gas Station egg salad a couple of times, and thankfully I've actually been okay from that, but you can see how that actually might go in the same way. Anyway, interesting anecdote. Bye.
You think I would never try from a gas station? Yeah.
I don't know about gas station food. I mean,
I'm in.
if it's a hot dog on one of those heated rollers and it's still hot, it could have been there a couple of days, but if they've kept it warm, I think it's going to be edible. But anything else, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like gas station sushi in the Pacific Northwest. I guess that would
Yes,
be our
there
equivalent.
is. There is. So,
Too funny.
okay. Well, so much for that. Hey,
Yes. So thanks for
Tonight-
calling in, Limax.
yes,
Yeah.
thank you, Limax. Now, tonight we are going to talk about what's in our fall geocaching bags. And folks, we couldn't do it without you. Each and every week, you guys add so much to the conversation. And tonight we want you to do the same. Use the hashtag fall or the Octothorpe fall. That came up on trivia this week. And I know what that is. And just, in case you needed to know. Okay, so use hashtag fall to bring up anything for the show tonight. Of course, you can use hashtag FATAS, which is very similar to fall, but, not. Use that for anything you want to talk about in the after show. That could be any events you're going to, what you've got planned for the weekend, anything that doesn't have anything to do with the show. And use the dueling hashtags. That's podcast baking and podcast drinking to let us know how you're nourishing yourself this evening.
There you go. That's
There's Dora Moore had gas station samosas.
samosas. Yeah.
They're actually pretty good.
What about gas station mimosas?
Ooh, those are even better.
You wouldn't
Okay.
get that at a Canadian gas station, I'll tell you that much.
Gas station hot dogs. How long have those been cooking anyway? They sit there and they rotate for weeks on end. And really, you
Indefinitely.
can't tell the difference.
Yeah. As long as you keep them hot. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Hey, we in the area of news, we have I don't know if I'd actually call it news, but we've got a little story.
Feedback.
Yeah, it's got some feedback that came in, which is great. So we're going to read that instead of news because we don't really have too much news tonight.
The news this week from HQ was how to break the ice at an event. It's simple. Go talk to someone.
or go to an event in the winter.
Oh, where there will be actual ice. You could have
But-
it on the ice, in which case breaking the ice is no good.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't break the ice at a curling rink either. They frown on that.
Yeah, you get in trouble.
Is it a rink or is it a
It's a sheet. What do they call that? Curling. I should know this. Anyways, I don't recall it off the top of my head. But what I do recall off the top of my head is that we have a story that was sent in to the cachingw.com website. And we're going to read it right now. Are you sitting comfortably?
reasonably?
Then we'll begin.
Tell me a story, Uncle Land Monkey.
So it starts with, I listened to episode number 509, Eastern Washington, a few weeks ago. it is significant to me because I live in Canada, directly north of Spokane. Someone mentioned Gardner Cave, so I had to look it up and make plans. Last Sunday, my buddy Jet Moon and my hubby and I went to explore the cave, and we were not disappointed. Not only did we have a wonderful, friendly, knowledgeable tour guide, the plant lady, but we went on a little hike up to the Canadian border that is just past the cave. Why is there no cache there? We asked. No fear, there is one now.
Well done.
The road from Medellin Falls to Crawford State Park has an excellent series of caches with no micros and lots of well-maintained regulars. Story goes on to say, I saw that Seattle Lights had just made 2 new accessible overlooks on the east side of the Coeur d'Alene River. So I put out new caches to entice people to check them out. All of this thanks to inspiration from our show. So a thank you from Fear the Tubas, and Fear the Tubas, a thank you from us at Caching in the Northwest for
Indeed.
writing in and sharing your story. That's awesome.
I have more reason now to fear the tubas.
As one should.
How very cool. Thank you that you went to go see Gardner Cave. I have not been yet. I love caves. Maybe that should be something I plan to do this fall. You know, if I was going to go there, I should probably pack a bag.
Good idea. What would you pack in that bag, I wonder?
I don't know.
I don't know, but tonight we're going to talk about what we have in our bags, and you, live chat participants, have in your bags when you go out geocaching this fall. So, and you know, we are partial. We really appreciate our live chat participants, but we don't want to forget you post live listener, recording listener thing people. You know, how about podcast subscribers? How about people that are commuting and sitting at a bus stop bobbing their head to the theme song? Or anytime you're listening to this, if you listen to this and it's not live, call in 253-693-TFTC. Tell us what you have in your fall bag, or send us an email, feedback@cachingnw.com, or, you know, tag Chris on social media.
Ooh,
That works too.
tag any of us.
Yeah, exactly. Any of the 3 of us.
Wits End. I don't know if I like the term post live listeners.
If you're listening to this in the future,
Okay. Now, I completely know what you mean if you're not listening to this live, if you're listening to it afterwards, right? But
it's really hard to
post-live
participate
means-
in the live chat if you're listening to it in the future.
There you go.
There you go. For sure. Well, hey, let's jump into talking about what we carry with us when we go geocaching in the fall. I know a lot of people have either shoulder bags or backpacks, etc., that they have their geocaching gear in. For myself, I think most people are probably familiar with it, but I have my geocaching Go vest. It's in brand.
Wait, I've never seen this before.
You've
What is
never-
this?
Hey, and bonus, if you haven't already discovered it, there's the tracking code on the back of my vest. Thanks to Wits End for that. Thank you very much, sir. That was a wonderful gift.
Oh, yes. It was thanks to a friend of mine, a muggle, but handy with a sewing machine. Stitched that up custom.
That's
monkey.
pretty awesome. That is, I love that to this day. That is one of my treasured items, Jim.
She's a supportive muggle.
The best kind, really.
Yeah.
So this is what I carry my stuff in, and we'll go through the various things that we have in and on our go bags, as it were. This thing is basically always ready to go, but there's a few things I throw in at the last minute, depending on what kind of adventure it's going to be.
In one of the hundreds of pockets.
It does have a number of pockets, but I think, without getting into too much on the vest, one of the things I like the best about the vest is that the weight is evenly distributed. So I'm carrying weight in front and on my back and on my sides. And so it has it's not just putting all the weight on your back, and it's got quite a bit of breathability to it as well. So it's a really nice, really nice, really nice way to go geocaching. But what do you guys carry when you go geocaching?
Not much.
On hikes,
You
I will
shouldn't
bring.
say that. That's not true, Jim. That's not true, because you have a very well managed backpack, and I know that for a fact.
Yeah, well, yes, that's more of my everyday commuter backpack that I don't always take caching, but I do take it sometimes. And there's a lot of there. But just on the average, gee, I'm out at lunch, I'm going to grab a cache, which is the majority of my caching is when I'm out, just going about a daily routine and go, oh, I think I'll find a cache because I got another 15 minutes to wait for store to open or whatever. I just generally go with what's on my personage, which is a flashlight, Leatherman, and on my keychain I always have a collapsible ballpoint pen and a pair of tweezers, and that's the gist of that. And of course, my cell phone with any number of geocaching apps.
Right?
That's your EDC, your everyday carry. You
Yeah,
have that with you all the time, don't you?
pretty much.
Yeah.
It's rare that I don't have the Leatherman on my hip, unless the only times I usually don't is if I'm going to some public venue arena where there are security checks and they prohibit such items from entering the facility.
Mm-hmm.
Or an airplane.
Yeah, exactly.
I walked into a government facility with that on my hip and totally forgot that I had it on there.
Yeah.
How'd
And
that
they're
go?
like, well, they were just utterly confused why I would have this on me. Are you here to repair something? No, this is what I carry with me all the time.
Geez, guys, hashtag EDC.
Yeah, exactly. But I apologize. Here, let me leave it here in your little bin, and I'll come back in 15 minutes and we'll
Yeah.
be done.
Too funny.
People.
So
So,
that's
yeah.
an interesting point, though, that you guys are making. Though there is a difference between sort of your EDC and often your EDC might be enough for like a park and grab here and there.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
I was kind of targeting the idea of the episode more towards you're going on a hike.
Yeah. So if that's the case, I do have a couple. I actually have a couple of backpacks because I really like bags. It's kind of been a problem in the past, but I've kind of tamed down a little bit. But my everyday bag, I've got stuff in there that comes in handy for that kind of stuff. Um, I even have a little small ham radio packed in there. That bag is more headphones, USB chargers, there's a laptop, pocket, iPad, and stuff for the work trip. But the bag, if I was going just on a hike, that's the bag that I had the day you were referring to my mental inventory check, is a hydration pack with lots of pockets. So I can stay well hydrated with that and carry snacks. And it's got the webbing on the outside that I'm trying to remember the name of, the military stuff, MOLLE webbing,
Mhm.
that you can attach pouches and things to.
Hmm.
So versatile that way. And it has a waist strap. So if it is packed rather heavy, it can transfer some weight down to your hips and take some of the weight off your shoulders, which really can be helpful.
Yeah, that's a handy feature in any larger backpack for sure.
Yeah.
Chris, how about you?
Well, I have a dedicated geocaching backpack as well, again, for the longer trips. Um, I have last year for my birthday or Father's Day, one of those, I decided I want a well-equipped first aid kit. I have something that I've tossed together, but I want a nice packaged first aid kit. Well, I want the good bag with a couple of good tools in it, and I'll fill in the rest because you can get this 174 piece first aid kit and 173 things are band-aids.
Yeah.
So
Or like super obscure things that you'll never use. Yeah.
right. Like the Madagascar mosquito remover, right? Yeah, that only works with Madagascar mosquitoes.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
Oh yes, we have wet wipes with bug repellent on them. Well, thank you, but I can provide that. Anyway, Sorry, I get off topic.
Well, hey, as long as we're veering off topic a
please.
bit, because I totally blew it last week. You mentioned the B word just prior to the previous podcast was your birthday. So a belated happy birthday to you. And coming up in the very near future is a Mr. Monkey's birthday. So an advance happy birthday to you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was very nice. You
Yeah.
said you'd mentioned the B word. Is like, what did I say?
Which B word?
Hold on. I had to go back. Did I say something I wasn't supposed to?
We signed off last week and we were here chatting after. We're like, oh, I forgot to mention your birthday. So-
That's very thoughtful of you.
But I
Ah,
mentioned,
yeah.
I wished him a happy birthday on his birthday. So, you know. And yes, Wood Coaster, we do veer off topic occasionally on this.
ever so occasionally. That's right.
Well,
Uh,
thank you, Keats.
Yes, thank you, Keats.
And Wits End, you've had a birthday this year.
Mhm.
I have.
I'm planning on you having another one next year.
It is likely to happen.
Yeah.
Good job.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
Doramore
Yeah.
is her philosophy with the fall bag is pretty much the same as mine. It's the same as the summer bag, but I
Mhm.
add an extra pack of tissues and some warm gloves. I like those glove hand warmers.
Mhm.
Yes.
Those can be very nice, right?
That's
And they
one of-
last forever if you don't, activate them. So
That's one of the things that goes into my bag for the fall and the winter and the early part of spring until it warms up is I've always got, you know what it is? I go to Costco every couple of years,
Mhm.
go to Costco and buy, it's like, I don't know, like $20 and you've got like 100 of them.
yeah, more than you could ever use.
I give them away at events and things
Mhm.
just so that other people have them because it costs us almost nothing. And it's such a great thing to have.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And when you need them, you need them.
Yeah.
Right. So you're thankful that you have them.
Yes.
But
Great feedback in the chat already.
yeah, I'm gonna have a microfiber cloth to dry things off.
Oh, that's a
That-
good suggestion.
And I may not necessarily in the summer, unless I'm planning to go swimming, and then I might have a microfiber towel.
Okay.
But I went to the cheap hardware store and got a bag of 10 microfiber cloths, mostly for the car, right? To wax the car with.
Okay.
But you know what? You take these things, you can stick them in your bag. They work for anything.
Mhm.
It's a good sized, 12-inch square. So works to dry things off, wipe mud off your hands, whatever you need to do. It's convenient to have a little towel with you. And, as we've learned, always carry your towel.
That's right. Thank you, Ford. And not
Indeed.
the car maker.
No, the
Oh,
prefect type. Yeah, some good stuff. So what else?
CRS 98 adds a bit more rain gear.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
The disposable ponchos aren't a bad thing. You
Mhm.
get
Yeah.
'em at the dollar store. You can throw it into a pack, and then worst case scenario, you got that. We've got so many things coming in here. This is great. What do you want to grab here, Chris? You want to grab some more stuff out of the chat first?
Well, Wino Seattle says here, I've got a headlamp, a UV light.
Mhm.
Okay. I sometimes carry a UV light. It depends, right? I don't have it in there all the time. If I know I need it, I'm going to grab it. But anyway, first aid kit. Yes. Again, I have it on the outside on those molly straps. Swag bag. I don't carry a swag bag anymore.
No, me neither.
That was more for the kids than for me.
But Wino Seattle has
It-
a little
yes,
one
Yep.
right at
is-
that right age.
Yep. Is in the kid zone. Crayola markers. Those are good for writing messages on the windows of your fellow cashers' cars.
Also good for rubbings on certain
Yeah.
cache
Oh,
padding.
that's a really good idea.
And signing legal documents.
Yes.
Mhm. A multi-tool. He has stamp tweezers. Now, it could very well be that there's supposed to be a comma between stamp and tweezers, but I'm going to
Could
go
be.
with stamp tweezers.
All right. Somebody's got to Google what stamp tweezers are. They the
Could
ones
be a
that have
thing.
like the hook on the end?
It-
Like
or
they're
or
bent on
maybe
the
for
end?
stamp collecting, they're
That's what I'm
maybe a
wondering.
little
Yeah.
longer.
Like tweezers, but they have like a. I'm for those listening to the audio. I am hand signaling what I think stamp tweezers would look like.
So instead of pinching down up and down, they pinch side to side when you
That's what
squeeze
I
them.
think.
He's moving his fingers like the teeth of a rabbit with gnashing teeth.
Oh, those. Yeah, I've got that.
That's what I'm wondering if that's what he means, but I'm curious to learn.
An extended grabber, extended magnet, and water. Oh, and honey stingers.
Honey stingers are good.
I have no idea what honey stingers are.
They're like those little waffle cookies.
Mm.
They're yummy.
Are they a wafer thin?
Yes. Give me a bucket.
And a big power bank.
And
Yes.
a big power bank. Yes.
I have one of those in my daily backpack. Yes.
Yes.
Very
And-
handy.
And the more you cache by phone, or particularly for any of those listeners who do any kind of vlogging, carrying power with you becomes increasingly important. But definitely caching by phone, you want that power bank.
Well, and if you're caching by GPS, a big power bank can also charge a GPS, right? They all,
Yep.
well, all the Garmin's typically have that mini USB style plug on the bottom that you can power from your car. So you could put your USB battery on there.
You know,
and
it's
keep that
ridiculous. I
GPS
never
running.
considered that as an option
Mhm.
because I don't take my cable for my GPS with me when I go hiking, but I totally could, and then I would have, for Pete's
Yeah.
sake. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a few ounces of cable, you could keep that GPS running for days.
I don't know why that never occurred to me.
Well, there you go. Hey, guess what?
Fact of the podcast.
This podcast was useful. If you found this podcast useful, write in and tell us.
Give it a like. Yeah.
Who knows? We may tell you where to go. Like in
We'll
a cave
definitely
in
do
Idaho.
that. There's no
Yeah.
question.
Oh, GSM times 2 says water, first aid kit,
Mhm.
toilet paper. That's a good one. That's
Yeah.
one I don't bring along. A few containers and logs, food, flashlight, whistle, battery, and cable. GPS is backup. I keep it in a fanny pack, hydration pack for long hikes.
Mhm.
Smart. Yeah. There you go. SMRT smart.
Keith says gloves. Long, slow approach to winter is near. Make sure that
Mhm.
you're in the clear.
Nice. Yes. Very good.
Trekking poles and cameras outside of the pack, says GSM times 2.
Yeah.
And, if you're very into photography or vlogging or what have you, a monopod can also work as a trekking pole if you needed to.
Well, or vice versa. They
I was going
have
to say,
trekking
yeah.
poles that actually have the
Okay.
half-inch screw top in the top of the handle, so it
Mhm.
can act as a monopod, that's like brilliant. Whoever came up with that idea.
If you put a little swivel head, you can make it a selfie stick.
There you go.
There you go.
Very cool. Yeah, lots of great feedback from the group. Thanks, Brian.
I don't know if Brian's coming back next week.
I was going to say, I noticed that he posted that and then walked out of his studio. So
Yeah, I see.
This podcast was useful. First time for everything.
Well, if he's walked out of his studio, it's easy enough to just disconnect him for making
True.
snide comments.
GSM times 2. The helpful fellow that he is, unlike Brylang, says stamp tweezers, stainless steel flathead tweezers, wide mouth stamp holder.
Okay.
I think he's copying right off of the Amazon website.
There you go. Thank you, GSM times 2.
Nonetheless,
There you go.
nice.
Very funny. Yeah, I mean, a few folks have been talking about sort of the essentials that they have in their geobag. We talked about a few of them. We talked about first aid kits.
Mhm.
Chris, you were talking about that. It's something I have, a first aid kit that I always carry in one of the front pockets of my vest, but this is the time of year to check your first aid kit.
Take a moment and renew it.
If you carry any pills or creams, make sure that they haven't expired.
What
So
about ointments or salves?
yes, those also. Anything that has the potential of expiring, make sure if you've got like band-aids and such that they haven't gotten wet.
Wet or
Yeah.
or the wrapper hasn't,
Yeah.
worn off for some reason and
Yeah.
they're not ready when you think they are.
So, change of seasons, great time to remember to check your first aid kit and make sure everything is copacetic inside it. So that's the first thing I would suggest.
At the
Copacetic.
Uh
This
Keats,
song is really pathetic.
Keats, I think he is quite a clever fellow. Don't slip or you may end up like the hashtag in this podcast. That's
Fatast?
podcast. Yeah.
Oh,
but bringing up the point of maybe you need to carry your yak tracks or some sort of grippy
Yeah, it might be a
extra shoe covering.
little early for that.
It might be a little early. I agree. I would think
now you're starting to talk about a little bit more weight.
I would think winter and into spring where you're going to encounter more snow, but it came up.
Yeah. No, it's a good suggestion for sure.
And I really like GSM times too. I really do. He says, I doubted Chris. Okay, I'll forgive you.
As
Let's
many
move
do.
on. I just plugged my eTrex 30 into a 2.4 power bank and it powered up beautifully.
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is, when it's off and I'm loading it, I plug it into the USB port on the laptop and it powers up. Like it never occurred to me of like, well, of course it would. So
You plug it into your car, it powers up.
5 volts is 5 volts. Doesn't matter where it's coming from.
And some of these new batteries you can get are just huge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We've done episodes on electronics, must carry electronics. Well, I'm sure we'll do more in the future, but probably as we get closer to Christmas time. But yeah, definitely. So there you go. Fact of the podcast.
there you go. And Gary says, I was on a hike today and the granola bar I grabbed from my backpack was nasty. Probably should rotate those as well.
Yeah.
There's good advice. Yes.
I make sure never to leave food in my backpack for extent. If I pack it that day or that weekend, I unpack it when I get back home just because I don't want it to get nasty in there. And then, now your first aid kit smells funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just have no willpower, so pretty much anything I bring with me gets consumed.
There you go.
So
So you don't have to worry about rotating.
Yeah.
Well,
what maybe I just ate 17,000 calories of trail mix.
you're on a trail.
Oh,
When
where else am I going to eat it?
That's right. What a stupid question.
What are you doing with that chair mix, Jim?
What do you think?
That's right.
He's eating it. Is it a chair?
Yeah.
But that's funny. We are talking about the essentials, and
Mhm.
and so first aid is the first one that always comes to mind. No pun intended. We've just been talking about food, all kinds of different trail snacks and food you can have, and of course you'll pack whatever. If you're going out for a full day, you're going to pack a lunch or something like that.
Mhm.
But it's good to always have. We've had a few people talking about different types of prepackaged snack foods, whether it's trail mix or granola bars or anything
Honey
like that.
stingers, which I just
Or
learned
honey
about.
stingers
Yeah.
are a
Mhm.
great one. Honey stingers are great because they take very little space and weight. So
I have found that the more stuff you pile in your bag, the less space those Cliff Bars take up too. It's amazing how they can conform to, almost nothing flat.
yeah.
They can fit into any corner.
A friend of ours recently, we were on a Jeep adventure with one of our friends, and he had brought the Lara bars. I had never
Oh, yeah,
tried
those
one of
are
those
good.
before. They're really good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Quite enjoyed those. And
I prefer to take old people cookies.
yes, you do.
Yeah.
Explain to everybody what you mean by old people cookies, because I'm not sure everybody gets the context, Chris.
And I'm not sure the manufacturer would appreciate the term, but go ahead.
I was introduced to them by my father, and we were out somewhere, and he goes, "Here." He hands me a Belvita, a cookie, a crisp. It's not a cracker, but it's a Belvita, right? He says, "Here, these are old people cookies."
They're kind of like sweet crackers.
Yeah, kind of. It's almost like a graham cracker.
Yeah.
They're good. Um, they're dry, so you never have to worry about them. And if they get broken and shattered, well, then you just pour the whole package into your mouth, all the
And
crumbs.
they're rich in vitamins and minerals, 8% per calorie. They're a good source of magnesium, selenium, vitamin B6, iron, vitamin B12, phosphorus, and zinc.
I
And
was going to say that.
and then the next statement in the Wikipedia article cracks me up. Contains a moderate amount of risky components. It may include saturated fat, sodium, and sugars.
A moderate amount.
Of risky components.
For risk takers.
Nice.
So there you go. So a few different options of things that you can pack or have in your go pack. Rotate them through, but
Right.
you can have in your go bag for food. We talked about water. Water is definitely something that that you're going to want to bring with you. I saw some interesting comments in the chat of people who bring varying amounts of water, but I think one of the things that we tend to forget is when it cools down, we don't think we need as much water. And
Mhm.
I mean, there's an extreme example from Arizona of someone who brings less water with them, just finding our way, who brings less water with him in the wintertime. I assume our Southern California friends would probably be similar, but up here in the Pacific Northwest, honestly, you should really bring as much water with you as you would bring in the summer on
Mhm.
a fall hike. It's going to feel a little bit cooler, but it doesn't mean you're getting dehydrated any less, unless we're in our now regular heat domes, but under normal circumstances.
That's right. That reminds me, also in that bag is a life straw,
I also have one in my bag.
just in case you need one.
Yeah.
If you need one, you need one. That is a portable water filter that is U powered. You suck up through it.
Hey, did you just say I suck?
Yes,
Easy, buddy.
through your life straw.
Here's a life straw right here. For those who are watching the video, if you haven't seen one of these before, a couple of cool things. As Chris says, you pop the top off, you pop the bottom off, and you stick it in a mud puddle.
Mhm.
And this thing is an insane filter. And you basically, it is U powered, as Chris said, or as I say, you suck. And the life straw will purify the water as you drink it. One of the other cool things that I really like about this product is for everyone you buy,
Yes.
they donate one to a third world country where they need purification in the water.
Yes. I love that. So you buy one, they give one.
Yeah, which is super cool. I just
Yeah.
realized as I popped the top off this that I must have had some crud get into my bag because there's a little bit of crud around the.
See, keep your bag clean so
Yeah.
that you're not
So you're not doing this in the middle of a podcast.
exactly. That's the whole reason right there. Brian Link says if you're bringing a water filter, Life Straw or other, there are other brands, by the way.
Yes.
This one is quite easy and portable, but there
It's
are
super
others.
super light and small, goes into your pack, and then you got it for an emergency.
Right. You do have to change them out every few years. That filter will clog up and become, dirty and disgusting. That's the whole point of the filter. But
It
beyond
gets
that,
clogged so you don't.
yes, exactly. Actually, you usually don't get clogged when you drink bad water. No, you everything flows out of you in a hurry is typically what happens. Okay. If you're bringing a water filter, Life Straw or other, Breiling says, try to find out if there are any water sources on your route before you set out for the day. Lots have dried up here in BC this fall.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and everywhere, right?
point.
I mean, I think that's and that's part of the being prepared when you go out is making sure that you are aware of the environment you are
Mhm.
going out and bring the as our friends from Adventure Smart always tell us, be prepared for the adventure you're going on because your essentials
Mhm.
will vary. depending on what you're doing.
Right.
So yeah, so we talked about the first aid
Don't
food,
count on that extra large iced coffee to get you through the hike.
right?
And that life straw. I honestly I've never used one. I've thought about buying one, never have actually got one. How much suction do you need? Do you have to like suck your lungs inside out to get water through it, or is it
Really
pretty
not
easy
that
to
bad.
use?
I mean,
Okay.
it's like anything. It's a you. This is going to be fun. Here goes the rating on the podcast. You got to suck hard at first, but
Get
the
that
more you
initial flow
suck,
going.
the easier it gets.
Okay.
You know when you get a good thick milkshake
Yeah.
and you put
Yeah.
the straw in and nothing happens for a while,
Yeah.
that's kind of the way. Yeah.
That's a great analogy, Chris, and probably better than and more family rated than what I just shared.
And now I want a milkshake.
Those the life straw is the one that I've been watching, the one that I purchased. They do go on sale from time to time.
Yeah.
We're coming up on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. That might be a great gift to give to your
There you go.
your geocaching friend, or give a gift to yourself and stick it in your backpack, and hopefully you will never have to use it.
There you go. Dora Moore said she has 2 of them that she keeps in her earthquake kit.
Hmm.
Great
There
idea.
you go.
Is that
Great
a kit
idea.
to build an earthquake?
Yes.
Yep.
Some assembly required.
Yeah, Wino Seattle mentioned a couple other good brand names for on-the-go filter devices.
Katie Dinner Grail.
Yep.
Makes filtration bottles.
Yep.
So those are bottles that you could, fill up in the mud puddle, and then you put your filter top on and suck up through that.
I have I can't remember which brand it is. I have one of those that's a soft bag for the bottle, so it just squishes up really small.
Mhm.
Carry it around with me, and then fill it up at a waterfall or anything where the water's moving. The water's probably fine, but now it's good.
Right. Right. I've learned, a waterfall or rapidly moving water usually is good to drink. You know what? I'm going to use the life straw.
Yeah.
Either you can fill up that your bottle and then put the life straw into it, or you can go put your face right down into the water and use the life straw. Either way, you feel more comfortable. Just remember that once that bottle has touched that potentially dirty water, you don't drink from it again.
Yeah, well, until you wash it. Yeah. Yeah. All kinds of great feedback there. So we've talked about water. Another
One
thing-
more before we leave, just because it was here.
Okay.
Brylang's trying to make amends for his previous comment.
Good luck.
He has an MSR trail shot pocket-sized water filter. More expensive than a life straw, but it can filter into a bottle without the straw.
There you go.
There you go.
Very helpful. Other things that you should be considering as an essential in your geo bag. We touched on this earlier when we talked about like portable ponchos and such, but this is the time of year to be looking at layers.
Yes. Yes.
So what do layers mean to you guys?
Well, for me, I bring my Tilly hat. Now, it can be also for sun protection, and it's waterproof. So it's good rain or shine to keep that sun off your head. Now, mine is vented around the top because I'm known to get hot-headed. And so, as you go on those long hikes, it allows your head to breathe and to cool without, risking the exposure. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say.
I think so.
UDAC knows. She says those Tilly hats are great.
They are.
Layers to me just means rolling up the windows while I keep the car running while Chris goes out in the rain in his Tilly hat to find the cache.
Well done. Well done, sir. Well played. Yeah, I mean, I think, again, for us up here, well, I think really just about anywhere when it starts to get to the fall season and things cool down a little bit, you should have some sort of anti-rain layer, something that's relatively waterproof. There's all kinds of great options that you can look at, something that's light enough that you can kind of just scrunch it up, stick it away, and you've got it if it starts to rain. The wind, it breaks the wind a little. Does it? Okay, a whole different conversation. Windbreaker is what I was getting at. something like that, right? Just cuts the wind down, keeps the rain somewhat off of you. But then also having a layer like a fleece layer or something, just
Mhm.
something a little bit insulative that can keep you a little bit warmer, or that you can quickly take off if you start to warm up as you're going uphill, as we often find we do.
Well, Wino Seattle has pulled out a few good base layers
Mm.
here.
Yep.
Smart Money, 185 to 300 merino wool tops and bottoms, REI brands too, Columbia base layers, and Smart Wool PhD crew hiking socks. So comfy.
Yeah, he corrected. He says that's smart wool, 185 to 300, not smart money, but it's
Oh,
money smartly spent for
that's
smart wool.
right.
Merino wool is
yeah.
probably the best fabric in my experience you can get for outdoor adventures. It's a little more pricey, but you can get merino wool blends
Mhm.
that take the price down and still are mostly as good. I think the biggest difference with merino wool blends versus pure merino wool is the blends. Um, Merino wool has an interesting anti-smell capability to it. It
Mhm.
naturally just has
Mhm.
this ability to not stink as fast as any other fabric. So it's pretty cool for that.
Keep out the
Yeah.
odors, keep out the funk.
Yeah. Keith 94 is talking about that actually. He made a comment. He said it merino wool is like when a sheep hugs you with the assurance of antimicrobial defense and
Wow.
keeps you warm. It's a
What a
magical
description.
experience.
I want a sheep to hug me.
There you go.
Yeah,
Well,
just watch out for the hooves.
I have a pair of Smart Wool socks,
mhm.
which I like. You know, those I tend to wear to work. They're a little nicer. And then I have some wool socks. I have some darn tough socks.
Oh, I
Mhm.
love the Darn Tough brand. Yeah.
And some other 100% wool socks, which if it's really cold, you know, I can double up the layers of these wool socks. You know, I've got the big
Sure.
thick wool socks and then the thinner ones. Um, and they really do work well.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
UDAC says he just heard about waterproof socks on another YouTube channel. Never knew they existed. Now, merino wool isn't waterproof.
No,
So they're not going to keep water out and away from your feet,
no, because
but
you
it's
want your
going
feet to breathe.
you
You
exactly
want your shoes waterproof.
right. And that wool won't get cold and damp like cotton will. You know, cotton, when you get your socks, cotton socks wet, they're just miserable. They stay cold
Yeah,
and squishy. You may be wet in your shoes and may never feel it because the merino wool will heat up that water and keep everything nice and body temperatured.
for sure. Yeah, no, great stuff. Yes, they work woolly well. Thank you. I am. Um,
Oh, Dora Moore's allergic to wool,
oh,
Oh,
well,
yes,
that's going to be problematic.
but there's
yes,
some
it's,
I I would try some synthetic wool.
Yeah,
See how
synthetic.
well they work before you invest in a dozen pair.
you get a
Yeah.
synthetic allergy.
There you go.
All right. So yeah, layers, and we talked there's and I mean again, you can do an entire episode on some of this stuff. Other essentials, we talked a little bit about this when we talked about GPSs and smartphones, but navigation is
Mhm.
a key essential. And you know what? I mean, I always preach this and I do it myself. Carry a compass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like and learn and learn how to use it.
There's the trick. Yeah.
Because just watching this thing with the little, oh, look at that, it's got a little spinny thing, that's cool. Right, but yeah, carry a compass, learn how to
The
use it.
I mean,
compass in the stock and this thing that tells time.
Yeah.
what he says. On one of my hiking sticks, I have a silly little plastic compass in the handle,
Okay.
right? It's one of those things that like, yeah, it's there, big deal. But if you ever need it, right, you have it there and you can look at it, you learn to read and learn to understand, you know, and then pay attention to where you came from, right? Remember, we're hiking north today, folks. That means to go back, we have to head south.
Yeah. Well, and again, it comes back to knowing where you're going to be going on your adventure, right? Because
Mhm.
there's all kinds of things. A lot of the steep mountain valleys up here in North Vancouver and such, the common sense thing would be, oh, I'm lost. I'll just follow the valley out. And it's one of the worst things you can do in the North Shore, because that's where you're going to slide down into a very deep canyon and get into real trouble. So, but again, that's not the case everywhere. That's just in that particular mountain range, right? So it's about know the area where you're going. So do a little bit of your research
Mhm.
first, and have some form of navigation. Ideally for us as geocachers, we're going to have the phone, we're going to have a GPSR, some combination of those two with extra power for it, and you'll be in good shape. Another piece is communication. And we're just about running the clock out here, guys.
Yeah.
I
But,
can't believe it.
I know.
I would like to get an expert on Northwest hiking in here
Okay.
to talk about what we should do if we're lost. Should we head uphill? Should we head downhill? What's in the Northwest? What's the best way to self-rescue?
It's going to really depend on where you are, is what I've learned. But that's great. Yeah, that's my homework. I will find some.
Okay. Hug a tree and survive. There you go.
Like, there you go. It doesn't hurt. That's
Nope.
definitely what we teach the kids. All right. Geez, at this point, I guess we may as well just park it, and we can pick up on other stuff later in a future
Mhm.
episode.
Just mark your parking coordinates in your app so you can come
Yes,
back to it.
always mark your parking coordinates
And
and
have that
trailheads.
and have that extra battery with cable,
Yeah.
with all the proper cables for your phone, for your GPS, for your flashlight, right? I have a USB rechargeable
We
flashlight.
didn't even get into light, but
Yeah.
yeah, light and
I
warmth.
have a USB rechargeable headlight too. So,
Yeah.
make sure you have all the right cables, because that USB battery can be the hub of your survival.
Yeah.
If you need it.
Chris, we've got some other topics lined up, and hopefully we've got some guests coming pretty soon that we'll have in some
Mhm.
future episodes. But maybe what we can do is we'll schedule in the near future. Let's talk about the tots that we all carry in our geo bag for
Yes.
a next future episode soon, because I think that'll be fun.
I recently picked up a new favorite tot. So let's do that.
Okay.
That sounds good. So folks, thank you for tuning into this episode of Caching in the Northwest.
That's right. And with that, it's time to take a moment to thank Land Sharks and Gold Country Geotourism, our two corporate Denali level sponsors. Land Sharks, LANDSHARKZ.ca, is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. Remember, they're shipping those online orders daily. And for absolutely amazing geocaching adventures, check out exploregoldcountry.com. And folks, we want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters. That includes Land Sharks, Gold Country Geotourism, but also Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, Cool Cow Cachers, and Cachly, the geocaching app. Folks, if you want to know more about supporting this here podcast, well, make sure to head on over to the Caching NW website and click on the Patreon link. And again, that's the cachingnw.com website.
Like Kev MacD did.
And mountain bike.
And just finding our way.
Ari, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
GSM ×2.
Team Noltex.
Kitty Quest.
JCar.
Korsgat.
Subway Mark.
MC3 Cats.
The GeoNav Pro.
And Kid Vegas 19.
Just Carlo.
You Talks to Rocks.
Logwork.
CRS 98.
UDAC. Hey, I'm getting a theme here with the ones I'm getting.
Because you power your life straw. Segehov.
Gas Station Tuna.
And Chris, how do we power the life straw?
You power.
Ackerdoc.
Camp Clan.
Broncos fan for life.
And new to the patron family, Nervous Energies.
Skyhawker.
Trexer.
Boomer 365, who congrats on being reelected to the BCGA board.
Nice. Dora Moore.
Genies.
Green words.
Geocaches.
RAR 285.
Nerve.
BC Rock Crawler.
Antaeus.
Al Robrick.
Peach of Washington.
Flagman.
Limax.
The Seebeck Tribe.
Wet Coaster.
B Pendragon.
Wino Seattle.
And LG 9000.
Folks, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, please click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. If you didn't like the show, let us know what you want us to talk about. In either case, you need to subscribe, because if you tell us what you don't want to, or you want us to talk about, and then you don't subscribe and listen, you'll never know if we paid attention to you. And give us a review. Now, if you were in a restaurant, you would tip. If you were in a live audience, you would clap. But since you're on a podcast, leave us a free, fast, fabulous, I messed up that time. A free, fast, fabulous, fantastic 5-star review. You can also call 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask us a question, or send us a pair of new wool socks any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and chat. The show is produced by Chris Humphenauer, Jim Paulwitz, Jay Kennedy, and Brian Lang. It's licensed under a Creative Commons 3.0 attribution, copyright 2023 by Chris Humphenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for
The After Show.
the after show.
Chris, the number of times that you are able to very smoothly run through free, fabulous, fast, fantastic 5-star review, we can give you lots of latitude if you stumble on it every once in a while.
Thank
We
you.
can, but we won't.
My mouth went dry and I just couldn't go through it.
Oh, too funny.
Take two.
Take two, exactly.
Komakino, this is a live show. We make mistakes just to prove to you that's a live show. I mean, we are such geocaching professionals. You may never hear our mistakes. So we just want to point them out when they happen. So you know, wow, he really is live.
That's the same reason that I say things that should probably get us taken off the internet. So yeah, here we are.
I needed a life straw. Thank you, UDAC. Yes, I did.
Funny.
Silly me without my bag here.
Exactly.
Live? I thought it was Memorex.
There's a dated reference.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Keats is going, what?
Keith says he's probably going to buy a drone in the not too distant future, looking at the DJI Mini Pro 3, hoping to get some cool shots for the old YouTube channel that I intend to expand.
I
And
have a friend that loves his Mini Pro 3.
Yeah.
I may say you could take your YouTube channel to new heights with the
Uh-huh.
drone.
I see what you did there. Yeah, I've got the Mini 2, and definitely the 3 is if you're looking at getting into the drone game and you're not deciding to go FPV, then the Mini 3 is probably the right direction to go. But I've got a couple of episodes where I talk to some drone experts on my YouTube channel. So folks who are curious about the drone world can certainly check out my YouTube channel for.
You just drone on, don't you?
No, I try not to. But yeah, some good advice from people who know a lot about it, especially FPV drones, because it's a whole.
It's a whole different ball game.
Yeah,
drone game.
Whole different drone game, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
What else have we got for hashtag FITAS?
GSM times 2 wanted to know: do gold country trees change color in the fall?
They do.
To which Brian Lang says, yes, some of them turn gold and yellow. Aspen trees specifically. We also have larch trees that turn gold and yellow at higher elevations in some areas.
Oh, I love when the larch trees change color in September. That's amazing.
It might be closer to winter. He's attending a GIF event in November.
A GIF event, yes.
A GIF in Coquitlam.
First time in years in the Lower Mainland, we've had a GIF event. I was so excited to see that get posted. Great news.
Wino is looking forward to the GIF events, planning an event in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, and DC on our trip to see Half Pint's grandparents in a world where an escaped killer roams the woods nearby.
What?
Huh. I
feel
was
like
with
there's a little
you.
more to that story.
I was with you on the first half of that, and then you lost me. In a world where an escaped killer roams the woods. Let's go geocaching.
Why not? What could possibly go wrong? Yep. Dora Moore saying there's a GIF event in Vancouver later on in November. There you go. So I don't know if she means as well as the one in Coquitlam. So that's cool. I haven't checked that out yet. I know, I'm pretty sure Komakino's got a film in the GIF this year. So looking
I
forward to
bet
that.
he does. That we may have that in the FTAS.
Mm.
Wino says also planning a big holiday event for 100 geocaching friends, including Cache Kids Corner, White Elephant, Potluck, 12 Days of Christmas. Looking for a Santa and an elf.
Sounds like a busy time.
Yes.
Good stuff. What else have we got? Anything else, Chris? Oh,
Pete says hashtag fall, pumpkin spice, everything. And everything nice.
definitely pumpkin spice. Yes, that is that seems to be just a fall thing now. There are it took me for a moment to figure out what Brian was getting at there. There are 2 GIF events now. Awesome. Good stuff.
Sweet.
Starcacher says a geocache published 4 hours ago, 25 miles from me. That is 24/7. And I have not had an FTF this month. It's not been found yet. I plan to go after the show. Hashtag no podcast drinking for me.
All right. Well,
Nice.
Starcacher, good luck and safe driving. And hey,
He's probably already gone.
FTF, if you're listening to this later, if you get the FTF, call in or write in and tell us about the adventure. We'd love to
Please do.
share it on the podcast. Right. I know Seattle wants to know what the GC code is. He's gonna try and race you there.
There you go.
You might have a head start on him.
He might have a head start since he's in Ohio.
Yeah.
UDAC just noticed the Margaritaville mention in the description. R.I.P. Jimmy Buffett.
I was gonna say, if Wino Seattle, if he can get over the Cascades and the Rockies, then he's got really good momentum going.
Yeah, exactly. It's all downhill from there.
Right? He might actually have a leg up on that race. I don't know. Fun. Doop 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 doop. I think we got through most things, eh?
UDAC says that would be a good glow.
That would be a good glow. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Wino says he's on his way. There you go.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us. And until next week, keep your feet dry and get out and get caching in the Northwest.